गर्ल्स एंड बॉयज सभी लोग सीधे बैठ जाएंगे. इरेक्ट. एवरीवन सिट इरेक्ट. ऐसे इरेक्ट नहीं बैठते हैं. सिट इरेक्ट. कम ऑन टेल मी गुड मॉर्निंग. Now on your beautiful face, can I have your beautiful smile? So good morning people, and I'm sure yesterday was a little difficult day for you. So those who are there on the pen drive, so let me tell you what happened with this guys and girls yesterday. So yesterday these guys and girls came as usual. I gave them a homework day before yesterday. What was the homework? To read and come. So they did not read and come, and some of them said that we have read. So those who did not read, they were asked to call their parents. They called their parents and said that I did not study. कुछ लोगों को धमकियाँ मिली. क्या हुआ तेरे साथ? What happened to you? Yes. Huh? Yeah. That Hacha, you. What happened then? Yeah? तेरा फोन ले लिया. अभी कहाँ है? हाँ? एक रात को ही सिर्फ फोन लिया उनके पास. ये पनिशमेंट था. So yeah, they had their punishment at home. So one of the parents took his mobile for one night and gave him back again in the morning. So any which ways, but that was the punishment. That is what he says. So then they were punished and they were asked to understand one thing, that if in case you don't read, then we are becoming weak. And I explained it thoroughly well to you people, and they were asked and made to sit in the class and read everything, including the concepts which are not taught to them. And then I said them, in case you don't understand, you can come and ask me, which is today, and I'm going to answer those queries. So point forward, pen drive students, in case you want to pass, there is one thing which you should remember. If an homework is given, that needs to be completed. Because whenever we do something good, the resistance is always going to be there. You understand resistance? मन ऐसे बोल नहीं करने का. You will always fear doing that. But then you have to break that resistance and you have to go ahead and start working on that. Is that okay? So lovely people, we are now here on which level? Accounting, concepts, conventions and principles. So I explained you business entity concept. Yes or no? Yes. Have you studied business entity concept? Yes. So what was that? Business and businessmen are same or different? Different. Is that okay? So they are different. Now today you have got confidence in your voice. Next, we studied the concept of what? Money measurement. Yes, what does money measurement says? Only transaction capable of measuring in money are recorded in the books of accounts. Absolutely right. Achha, when we record the transaction in the books of accounts, we record it from the point of view of business or businessmen? Business. Is that okay? So introduction of capital is shown as a liability. Capital is a liability. Why? Because business is telling to businessman, boss, look, you gave me money, I need to return it back to you. So that is capital. What is the next item? Going concern. So what is going concern? The business is going to stop or is going to continue for foreseeable future, right? Because if we do not continue the business for foreseeable future, then there is no concept of fixed asset. Because whatever I buy, I'll have to sell it off. I'll have to dispose it off. Fixed asset can be treated as fixed asset only when you are able to use it. Say yes. Fixed asset can be said to be used only when it is used for more than one period. Yes or no? And for that, going concern has to be there. But when do we celebrate birthday? We celebrate the birthday every year. So we now divide the indefinite life of the business into the finite period. Finite period can be 1 month, 1 year, 3 months, 6 months, quarter. Yes or no? Yes. So boys and girls, what do? Is we calculate the profits and the losses on the basis of the division of the indefinite life of the business into the finite period. Say yes. Any query so far? No. So that was periodicity. After periodicity, did we study anything? Dual aspect. So dual aspect concept, I said you what? There will always be how many effects? At least 2 effects for a transaction. Okay. So that comes from the equation LHS is equal to RHS. So asset has got which balance? Liability? Capital? Income? I did not explain. Okay, fine. If asset increases, capital or liability will increase. Yes or no? Yes. If asset decreases, capital or liability will decrease. But if an asset increases, another asset decreases. Do you all agree? So here we are like this on the same side, but when we are on the opposite side, we go together. Yes or no? Yes. So boys and girls, I hope you people have understood so far. Now let's go on and understand the next part of the story. Increase in asset is represented by increase in what? Liability or capital. Decrease in asset is represented by increase in what? Another asset. Is that okay? Alright people, so we did with dual aspect concept also. Anything else? No. So after that I don't think so we studied anything else. So it's time that we go ahead and understand the remaining few concepts. I believe that you have read the other concepts as well. Alright, let's go on. So did you understand the magic of power of reading? Yes. If you read, you understand. You go ahead. Today there is a difference in you. And it was not because of me. It was because of your karma. So when you work, you evolve. When you work, you evolve. When you work on a problem, then is when you become successful. No? You will be getting money for what? Knowledge is useless if you cannot communicate. So you should be able to communicate it properly, and the way you were communicating yesterday was not great. So in our domain, you are going to get money. See, there are many people who will get the work done for you. That's the reason CEO is one, employees are many. That is the reason head is one, but the employees are many. Yes or no? Yes. Please understand this one concept very strongly, that your communication should be strong. There are many people who knows how to do it, but there are very few who can communicate exactly what they want, and that's what you need to do. And communication starts with this. So if you ever get a chance, read about Bhagat Singh. Bhagat Singh had this, this power to, think about India. He was so very involved with India. But when he was involved with India, he read about India. He knew all the codes, he knew all the, history at that point in time. So reading can create that difference. If you subtract reading from Bhagat Singh, you will not find Bhagat Singh. If you subtract reading component from Bhagat Singh, you will not find Bhagat Singh. For that matter, Einstein. If you subtract from Einstein his reading and all, you will not find Einstein. So please understand, you need to groom yourself really well through your reading. You cannot talk to Einstein, but you can read his book and you can talk to him. You cannot talk to Vivekananda, but you can read his book and talk to him. And unless and until you talk to great people, you cannot become great. It is said that you are average of the 5 people you live with. You are an average personality of the 5 people you live with most. So if you live most with, time pass or your age people, then you are going to be one of them. But if you start living with the books, you start interacting with the great people, you start getting influenced by them, you are a different personality. Yes or no? I hope you people are understanding the power of reading, and you all are going to read. Start with the textbook, and then over a period of time, I'll keep on suggesting you the books which you should read. It's very important. Okay? Let's go on. So now we are going to understand a concept called as what? Accrual and matching. Now what is accrual? See, when there was a concept called as periodicity. So what did periodicity do? Now I am going to teach every concept, why a concept was evolved, why this concept got introduced. So when I said you that going concern is there, so today we are in the year 1, the business is going to run for number of years. We don't have an intention to close it. We don't have an intention to wind it up. Yes or no? But now it was divided into finite period, which was called as periodicity concept. But when I said that we have got a periodicity concept, why did we have a periodicity concept? So that we can calculate profit, loss, yes or no, income, turnover, expenses for that particular period. Agreed? Yes. But then came something called as contract. Now what is a contract? Let me explain you. Cash may not be equal to income. cash received may not be equal to income. Now, there are two terms which we are going to see. What is income? Income is something which you receive, you don't have to pay it back. A simple thing which I am explaining is, what is income? Income is when you receive something, you don't have to pay it back. I mean, you have got the complete control on that particular portion or that share that belongs to you. Oh, it's mine. You getting my point? So, suppose, for example, you bought a shirt. You bought anything. So, when you pay the money and the person receives the shirt, it has become his income, and for you it has become your expense. You eat a pav bhaji. You eat pav bhaji. Oh, gone inside. Now, can you sell it back? No. But you buy a pen, can you sell it back? As in, if you are into the business of pen, can you sell it back? Yeah. So that's the reason goods is an asset. Because you sell it again, you generate income. So what is an asset? Asset is a resource controlled by an enterprise from which future economic benefits are expected. At this point in time, you only understand one thing. Asset may say, you get benefit. Once you do an expense, done. It is only for that particular period you got the benefit. So you drive in a rickshaw, you get benefit only once, auto. But you buy a car, you get benefit for multiple period. Future economic benefit. Do you understand the keyword? So this AC is giving me the future economic benefit, yes or no? Yes. For over a period of time. Yes. But for example, this electricity which I am consuming here, is it giving me benefit right now, or it will keep on giving me, this particular bill will keep on giving me for 10 years? So suppose if I paid electricity bill 400 for this month, so this is giving me the benefit only for this month. Yes or no? So now you understood that there is something called as expense. Now you understood there is something called as income. Income and expense, and there is something called as asset also. So when you pay something, for example, I buy a mobile, it becomes my asset. But suppose I pay mobile bill, it becomes my expense, because it is for this period. Now you understand? For this period. Understand the concept? Period. Now this projector is an asset. But my dear friend, the electricity consumption for that is expense. My two-wheeler is an asset, but petrol is expense. Expenses, once we incur it, we don't get it back. Happy? So I'll give you a list of the expense. Right now that is not my prerogative. Right now that is not my area which I want to discuss. I want to discuss a more beautiful thing than that. You said that we have to calculate profit or loss for a period. But in a period, I am saying cash received is not equal to income. Okay, come here. Come. Stand up. Where is your wallet? Idhar. माइक दे इसको. सुन, मैं जो बोलेगा वो बोलने का है. क्या? पकड़ इसको. बोलेगा क्या? माइक पे बोल. सर, ये पैसे लो. मुझे क्लास करने की है. चल पैसे दे. मेरे से नहीं मांग रहे, तू पैसे दे. देना. So I got this money. Thank you. Go. Bye. Is it my income? तुम्हारे जैसे लोगों की वजह से ना भारत आगे नहीं जा रहा है. सब साले गुंडागर्दी में भरोसा रखते हो. अकाउंट्स का दिमाग है ही नहीं. You don't have an accounting knowledge acumen. I am saying, is this my income? Why not? Why not? Is this my income? Arey, come on, be serious, sir. Is this my income? Sir, you confuse us a lot here, sir. I just confuse with my words. You don't apply your brain. I just confuse with my tone, etc. But I'm going to do that because you need to understand it thoroughly. I'm asking, is this my income? Yes? So, okay. Thank you so much. You all have paid the fees? Yes. So, thank you so much. I'm going now. I'm not going to teach you because you said that is my income. And income is something that I don't have to return. So thank you. I'll spend some quality time in Europe. Bye-bye. Right? I'm planning, okay? So bye-bye. I'm going. That's my income, right? You are not going to do anything. You tell me what are you going to do to stop me. तुम चलो अभी तुम्हारी औकात पर आ जाओ, तुम क्या क्या करने वाले हो मुझे रोकने के लिए, जल्दी से मुझे बताओ क्या क्या करोगे। मैं उतर के जा रहा हूं, मैं क्लास के बाहर चला गया तो फिर मैं आऊंगा नहीं वापिस। क्या क्या करोगे? मोबाइल मोबाइल अबे यार कब गुंडागर्दी निकलेगी बे? थोड़ा दिमाग से भी काम कर सकते हैं ना। मोबाइल बेच देंगे, ये बेच दूंगा, बेंच बेच दूंगा। वो रास्ते पर है ना जो ये रहते हैं ना, क्या बोलते हैं, जिसमें गटर के ऊपर के रहते हो, वो बेचने वाले लोग तेरे ही रहते हो, तेरे जैसे ही निकाल निकाल कर लेके। कैसा छिछोरा आदमी है यार। सो अगेन आई आस्क my respected dear students, so what all you are going to do to stop me if I in case I am going? You'll ask your money back. So that says that she says that I want my money back. And suppose if I don't pay? Sue me. English wala? So he's going to drop a legal case against me. Right? This guy is saying that I am going to send gundas to you. But I'll recover my money. So then that says that I have received the money, but I have not provided you any service. So how can this be my income? You know what happened? मुझे बचपन से ही, मुझे बचपन से ही घोड़ी पर चढ़ने का बड़ा शौक था। Why are you laughing? Even in fact you also dream of it, right? So I wanted to get married. No, this happens very frequently and very fast with the boys. This doesn't happen with the girls. If you ask this guy, Papa इनको कल जाके बोलेंगे बेटा तेरी शादी करा देंगे, they say yeah Papa, I am ready. This is how the boys are. So I wanted to get married. So I always felt that I am gonna sit on that ghoda or ghodi whatever, and then I am gonna go, or then it's fun. Your friends are dancing here, it's fun. Then later on I realized it was never a fun. I mean. But ठीक है. So I booked a ghodi because my marriage date was fixed. So then I booked a ghodi. I booked a ghodi saying that you look, I'm going to pay you how much? 5,000 rupees. उसको सजा धजा के लेके आने का. He said, yeah, I'll get it. Right? I was getting married somewhere in the month of February, and ghodi died. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. Ghodi died. Female horse died in English. I don't know what it is called as. So, घोड़ी died. मर गई शादी के 2 दिन पहले. So now you tell me, was that the income of the person who received it? No. It wasn't, because do you think so he had to refund it back to me? Yes. So please understand, there is a concept called as accrual, which says that cash received or cash paid does not tantamount to income. Cash received or cash paid does not tantamount to income or expense. Say yes or no? Yes. It depends upon when it is accruing, when it is incurred, and when it is accruing or when it is incurred, it depends upon the contract of each case. So I'll explain you what are the contract. Is that okay? सबके सामने आके लेके जा तेरा पैसा और हवा करेगा. कैमरा में रिकॉर्ड हो गया. Shall we now talk to you people? Listen to me carefully. So accrual says what? Recognize income. Recognize means make entry. Recognize, the word recognize says make entry. Now what is entry? We'll see it later on. Recognize income or expense as and when it is earned, or as and when it is incurred. So income is earned and expense is incurred. So now let's understand. Santosh, stand up. Now Ansanj, come here. Santosh is understanding everything, huh? English? Yeah, Santosh. So Santosh, come here. Stand here. Marathi mein bolo? Nahi. You tell me what is your salary on the mic. You gonna tell? When do you get your salary? When do you get your salary? सॅलरी कधी मिळते? नाही अमाऊंट नको सांगू. हां, सॅलरी कधी मिळते तुला? नहीं, कभी कभी उशीर पण करतो ना. समटाइम्स आई मेक इट लेट. अरे तो बोलना ऐसे बोलने के लिए. हाँ, तो कभी कभी लेट होता है क्या? होता है ना. सो मुझे बता, अप्रैल की सैलरी कब मिलती है? अप्रैल महीने की सैलरी कब मिलती है? मई महीने में. बराबर है. मुझे बताओ ये खर्चा कौन से महीने का है, मई का है कि अप्रैल का है? You are now going by the contract when it was incurred. So it was incurred when? In the month of April, because you worked for me in the month of April, I am just paying it in the month of May. So suppose there is an year end, 31st March. Ekta Kapoor samajh mein? Year end, when is the year end? 31st March. Agreed? So for the month of March, I am going to pay where? April. Boys and girls, this salary expense belongs to which month? March or April? So you have to make the entry in the month of March. This is what I am explaining you. You must have paid in the month of April. Fine. But you have to book an expense in the month of March. Do you understand this? Yes. Now let me ask you one more question. Are you ready? Yes. Do you drink milk? You can say. Do you drink milk? Yes. Oh. So who delivers milk at your place? Milkman. Good. So when do you pay him? So you dosing the milk throughout the month. You drinking the milk throughout the month. You drank milk throughout the month. And you paid here in the month of April. You drank in the month of March. When was the expense incurred? March. You understand? So receipt and payment doesn't tantamount to receipt of income or receipt of or payment of expense. So we don't record the transaction on the basis of cash received or cash paid. We record when it was incurred, when it was incurred, and when it was, what I can say, accrued. That is earned. Do you all understand? Okay. So boys and girls, let me explain you one more last stuff. There is a guy, a big businessman. Anyone wants to be a big businessman? You? Can you stand? What's your name, bro? So Atharva started a huge business. Huge business, you understand? Yes. Huge. He started a ship. You understand ship? Water पे जाती है. Cruise. He took up the loan. 100 crore. 100 crore. Loan. You know what is the interest? 10%. 100 crore into 10% is 10 crore. That is the interest he is paying on that ship. Ship has got around 500 rooms, 500 cabins. That ship, it sails from Mumbai to Goa, Goa to Mumbai. Sometimes he takes them to some other countries also. Say yes or no? Nonsense. Yeah. He has a ship. You understand? Ship. 100 crore ille. 100 crore 10% interest कितना 10 CR. पूरा ड्रामा हो गया रेडी अभी तक. Are you clear cut having an idea what is he doing? Nonsense. So you are going to earn money. Now she thought that, oh, he is doing a great business. He is my classmate. I should invest in his company. Because he is doing such a great job. I will invest in his company. You said this? You wanted to buy shares, yes or no? Who wants to buy shares? So will you not invest in his company? Of course you will invest. Because he is having such a huge business, and then he is having 100 crores of shape. Then he thinks that, he is going to do this, that. So one fine day he met you all. He's a big businessman now. He's talking to you all this stuff. And you get impressed. Oh, I want to invest in his company. He's doing great, okay? Now, he has to show profit. Why he has to show profit? Because when he shows the profit, then that gets divided in form of dividend to you people. Dividend milta hai na? And when you receive dividend, you feel good. You have got chota bachcha at your home. They say, Papa, chocolate, Papa, ghumne jana hai. So you say, yeah, we can go because you are now getting dividend. Yes or no? You invested in that great company. Wow. Hey, sir, even I want to buy in his companies. Tom Raj. All right. Now there is an interesting story. There was Corona. And ship is there, docked, not moving anywhere. Okay? He is not having any money now. Bank is coming every day to earn interest. He is saying, I can't pay. I don't have money. Because I don't have anyone who is sailing in my ship. It has been 2 years. 2020, 2021. Right? So I don't have any money, I don't have any income. Where do I pay the interest from? My question to you all is, how you people got fooled? Because this guy committed a fraud by not showing interest as an expense, because he said I am not paying, so it is not an expense. But he had incurred it always. अगर कैश रिसीव्ड और कैश पेड के बेसिस पर खर्चा बुक करते तो क्या हो जाता? इसने कैश तो पेमेंट की नहीं, he doesn't have a cash, he did not make the payment of the cash because he doesn't have the cash. Agreed? So because he is not paying the cash, it was never recorded. It was never recorded. You thought there is no expense. Let's invest in this company. And then all of a sudden, when the people started coming up, you are waiting for the dividend and your kids were waiting, we are going to go for the Europe holiday. But then what happened? Boom, bank came up, give me my interest. And he had to pay that interest. You are not aware. You are not aware because it was never recorded. So now you tell me whether he committed a fraud or not. Yes, accrual concept was a very big invention. Because earlier when people used to think that I am receiving the cash and I am paying the cash, that is the source of income or expense. No! Expense and income is as per the contract. If he has signed the contract of the loan and if he has not paid the interest, but still that is an expense for him, yes or no? Yes. Whether you are paying or you are not paying, still it is an expense. Are you getting my point? So, cash receipt and paid does not determine whether it is an income or expense for us, yes or no? Accrual concept gives birth to 4 concepts. Accrual concept gives birth to 4 entries. 1, 2, 3, 4. One is outstanding expense. Then prepaid expense. Right? Then income received in advance. And accrued income. Income received in advance and accrued income. Is that okay? Yes. Just give me a while. Now, so accrual concept gives birth to how many things? 4 things. अरे तू बैठ ना, शादी में है क्या? So what is the first one? Outstanding expense. Now what is outstanding expense? Expense which is incurred but not paid. A science background. Outstanding expense is what? One which is incurred but not paid. Then the next one is prepaid expense, which is paid in advance. Like I paid for Godi. Like you pay your rent in advance. Yes or no? For the whole month you pay it in advance. So prepaid rent is what I can say is the generation out of the accrual concept. Agreed? Then something called as income received in advance. You paid your fees. That is an income received in advance by me. And similarly there is something called as accrued income. What is accrued income? It is earned but not yet received. That is receivable. That is the generation of the credit transaction. Yes or no? So for example, you don't have a money and you say, sir, I would like to sit in your class and I would pay it later on. I said, okay, fine, no issues. So in that case, the income is earned but not received. Do you all agree? So boys and girls, you write down accrual gives birth to these 4 concepts. Now your next question will be, sir, what are the entries of this? So I'll ask commerce background student, give me the entry for prepaid expense. I am not hearing it. What? So you don't know. Good. Science background student, don't worry. कुछ नहीं आता इल्ले 2 साल में कुछ नहीं किया. Income received in advance entry बताओ. तो मैं ना कम से कम अभी घर में जाके ना डेंगे हाँकना बंद कर देना. मेरे को इतने परसेंटेज मिले 3 दिन पढ़कर, वो 3 दिन बाहर निकल रहे अभी इधर. इनकम रिसीव्ड इन एडवांस, एंट्री, अक्रूड इनकम एंट्री, and these were the basic entries which you were taught in your 11th as well as 12th. Very basic entries. So let me explain you what are these. Now everyone's attention here, I'll explain you. Outstanding expense means the expense is incurred but not paid. So outstanding expense is a liability. Okay? Liability. Why? Because I have to pay it. Now commerce background students will understand it very easily. Science background, you will have to agree and accept with me what I am saying. It is my liability because something which is already incurred but I haven't paid it. So it becomes what? My liability. Then prepaid expense is my asset. So for example, if I tell you that I have got a prepaid insurance, prepaid rent, it is my asset. It allows me to take future economic benefit out of it, yes or no? So you have paid a rent of 6 months, you get a benefit of another 6 months, so that is a prepaid. It is an asset, yes or no? Yes. Say yes. Yes. Then my dear friend, income received in advance is a liability. So now the fees which is received through you is a liability for me because I have to provide you the services. I have to incur all these expenses. Liability where the outflow is expected. Asset is where the inflow is expected. Liability is where outflow is expected. Do you understand? So income received in advance is what? My liability. Accrued income is what? Asset. That is income receivable is what? Asset. Now can I explain you? Liability has got which balance? Credit balance. Asset has got which balance? Debit balance. Income received in advance is what? Liability. It will have which balance? Credit balance. And accrued income will have which balance? Debit balance. Say yes. So boys and girls, the entry is very simple. The entry is expense account debit to outstanding expense. Now you'll ask me, sir, how did you get this entry? Very easy. Outstanding expense has got which balance? Credit. So I have credited to outstanding expense and I have debited what? Expense. Boys and girls and boys, please remember one thing very clearly. Expense is different and outstanding expense is different. Now science background, even if in case you are not understanding, it's fine. At least you are understanding outstanding expenses having which balance? Credit balance. Do you understand that when I am writing a journal entry, I have to credit something. So when I credit something, I write down what? 2. Okay. So I have written 2, that means I am crediting it. Whatever I have written on the debit side, I write down expense debit to outstanding expense. Agreed? Yes. Now, I will teach you one more entry. Then you have to derive it for yourself. So in a journal entry, there is something called as debit and there is something called as credit. When we write on the credit hand side, we have to write down 2. Happy? जैसे asset को कौन सा balance होता है? Debit. This is a rule. So similarly, I said you, I first classified all these items into what are they? So what is the outstanding expense? It is a liability. What is a prepaid expense? Asset. So if you understand thoda sa logic, what are you going to do with the prepaid expense? Debit or credit? Debit or credit? So can I not say my entry would be prepaid expense to expense? Yes or no? Prepaid expense to expense. Very easy. So what you need to understand only one first thing is prepaid expense. What is it? It is an asset. What is the balance to an asset? Debit. So I say prepaid expense to expense. Boys and girls, please tell me what is income received in advance? Liability. My entry is income, bashi tai, income. Income account debit to income received in advance. Happy? Yes. And what about accrued income? The entry is accrued income to income. Do you all understand? Yes. Science background students, who are you all? 1. Those are 2. Where is the third? 2 tha kya? Okay. So I know for sure, and who are there in the online, you might be having a problem in understanding this. But I'll tell you, did you understand that prepaid expense is an asset? Something which I pay in advance is my asset. I'm going to get future economic benefit. Something which I have received in advance is my liability because I have to give them services. Similarly, have you understood that which I have earned but not received is what? Accrued income. It is an asset. And something which I have to pay, it is an outstanding expense. It is a liability. Yes or no? So I will ask you 4 stuff. You have to answer me immediately. Outstanding expense. Liability. No. What is that? Outstanding expense. Liability. Prepaid expense. Asset. Income received in advance. Liability. Accrued income. Asset. Are you sure about it? Okay. Now I am telling you, what is the balance to an asset? What is the balance to a liability? So now you already know that outstanding expense is a liability, it will have a credit balance. So can I not say on the credit hand side when I am writing down, I have to write down the word to outstanding expense, agreed? Yes. So beta, what is the debit, what is debited? Expense. So right now even if you don't understand the entry is fine. यार अभी समझना ज़्यादा मतलब ये अभी ध्यान में रहेगा तो you'll be able to do it little more better in future. So the entry is expense to outstanding expense. What is the entry of prepaid expense? Prepaid expense to expense. Say yes. What is the entry for the third? Income received in advance. Income to income received in advance. What is the entry for accrued income? Accrued income to income. I said you accrued income is something else and income is something else. Both are not same. Is that okay? Now, science background students might be also having a fear that I don't know. Please trust your instincts. Please trust yourself. I asked this question first to commerce background students. And they were expected to know it in 11th, 12th. कॉमर्स के बच्चों सच्ची सच्ची बताओ तुमने ये फाइनल अकाउंट में किया है कि नहीं किया? तुमने एडलेस से किया है. मैं तुमको अभी एडलेस समझाता हूँ. P&L अकाउंट में कभी आउटस्टैंडिंग एक्सपेंस नहीं दिखता है, कभी नहीं दिखेगा रियल लाइफ में. लाइबिलिटी में दिखता है. तुमको ऐड करना सिखाया बट रियल लाइफ में देर इज नो एडलेस. यू गो इन द टैली सॉफ्टवेयर, यू डू एडलेस और यू मेक एंट्री. सो व्हाटएवर यू हैव लर्नड इज रॉन्ग. You have to learn it through the entries, because if you want to make the entry of outstanding expense, you have to make an entry, boss. You cannot go and do add less there. So you know what you have to do in plus minus. You will say add in expense and balance sheet liability side, but that is useless because you cannot do it in the practical life. In the practical life, what you have to do is you have to make an entry. You go in SAP system, Oracle, Tally, anywhere and everywhere you have to make an entry. So my logic was simple. Commerce background and science background are at par here. In fact, sometimes commerce background students take it lightly that they know everything. So if you are having a confusion in this area, I am not understanding this entry, boss, please understand, I have not explained you the journal entry format. We are yet to learn that. We are just on the concepts. But if something is related to a particular concept, don't you think so I should explain it right now, right here and here? Yes, that is the reason I explained it. But you think this is the final explanation? No. You are going to still study it in final account. You ask this kid's commerce student, where you are taught this particular logic? Final account or in the concepts? I am teaching you here so that your fundamentals become more strong, and when I go there, you will be able to understand it in more depth. So what are you expected to understand here? Only one thing. How do you recognize the income? When it is received or when it is earned? And when you recognize the expense? When it is incurred or when it is paid? Incurred or paid? Incurred. So that's what I have taught in accrual concept. Application I have taught with the help of an example, which you might be thinking that I have not understood, but you have understood more than enough, because this concept we will understand it more logically in final account. Is that point clear? So please stop है ना, मतलब खुद को ज़्यादा रेट करना बंद करो and write down this entry. Hey, whose is this book? Who is this? किसकी बुक है ये बुक किसकी है? हाँ, ये क्या लिखा है इस पर? मुझे नहीं पता. कोई बात नहीं, ये आपने लिखा है? क्या लिखा है? तो वही मैं पूछ रहा हूँ, क्या लिखा है ये? क्या लिखा है? एक्रूअल माने मंजूरी. गलत लिखा तुमने. एक्रूअल इज अर्नड और इनकर्ड, पहचान और मंजूरी नहीं है. इसलिए मैं पूछ रहा था क्या लिखा है. अच्छा, अप्रूवल. अप्रूवल अप्रूवल मतलब मंजूरी. अक्रूअल माने ये नहीं. तुमने अप्रूवल का मीनिंग लिखा, APPROVL, अप्रूवल. ठीक है, बढ़िया है, पर मेरे को अच्छा लगा वो. हाँ, कोई बात नहीं. चले क्या आगे? हाँ लिखो आराम से. पूरा ड्राइंग वाइंग कर लेना, मेहंदी में यही निकालना शादी की. Are we ready? Here we go. The next beautiful concept. So you have understood the concept of accrual, which we'll read it. Now there is a very interesting thing. Life is very complicated. Do you know that song? साड़ी के फॉल सा तुझे मैच किया रे. Means what? मैं नहीं जा रहा है क्या? तुम जलील करते हो मेरे को इधर बुलाकर हर रोज. क्या है ये गाना हर रोज गुनगुनाते हो? इतना फालतू क्वेश्चन पूछा. मेरे डॉग को पूछूंगा वो भी आंसर देगा, इसीलिए सर हम नहीं दे रहे. नहीं. सो व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस सॉन्ग? साड़ी के फॉल सा तुझे मैच किया रे. हाँ हाँ, यू आर मैचिंग द कलर ऑफ द साड़ी. सो मैचिंग इज समथिंग लाइक, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, how many rotis do you eat? 3. So how much should cook? 3. Matching. What you want to eat, I should supply. What is demand, I should supply. Match. You see? Matching. Now there is a problem, big problem, Rumba problem. What is that problem? Let me explain you. Rumba is big, na? Chennai Express में पड़ेगा. Rumba problem. हाँ? Rumba is big, right? Anyone Kannada? कोई नहीं है. और मैं इंग्लिश में पढ़ा रहा हूँ. अच्छा कौन है कन्नड़ में? रुम्बा मीन्स व्हाट? अच्छा दिस वर्ड इज नॉट देयर इन कन्नड़. तेलुगु में रुम्बा मीन्स व्हाट? बशी क्यों गाँव भर फिर लाइक साला आ गया. मतलब अगला कॉन्सेप्ट मैचिंग कॉन्सेप्ट है. यस तोमराज. सो लेट मी एक्सप्लेन यू व्हाट इज मैचिंग. सो इफ समबडी वांट्स टू ईट 3 रोटीज, देयर शुड बी 3 रोटीज अवेलेबल. एंड इफ देयर आर 5, देन खड़ा हो जाए. इधर आ. Yeah, Mike. Tell the Sansar, how many rotis do you eat?
I eat 3 rotis.
I eat 3 rotis. Good. So if I have got roti 1, roti 2, roti 3, roti 4, roti 5, this is my purchases. And I have sold you how many rotis? 3. So you tell me, brother, what is my expense? 5 rotis? Yeah. नहीं समझा ना अभी तो. क्या मैं तुमको अगर 5 पेड़े लेके आए, 1 2 3 4 5 पेड़ाज, यू एट 3. सो यू टेल मी व्हाट इज माय एक्सपेंस? 5 पेड़ा, 3 पेड़ाज. सिमिलरली यू अंडरस्टैंड माय बाइको. सो आई गॉट आफ्टर दिस क्लास, व्हाट यू नो व्हाट आई डू? आई गो एंड सेल लेमन्स. Yeah, so they are in demand. That's the reason I sell lemons. I go to this market yard, I buy it there, right? So sometimes when Santosh is free, even he comes and he helps me to sell the lemon. So yesterday I bought 2 purchases. I purchased, sir, आप सुनो, 100 lemon at the rate of rupees 5. So 100 into 5 is 500. I bought 500 rupees. I had this pocket money, I spent it there. So 100 into 5. Okay. Then I sold by sales. Suppose I am writing down something sales. So I sold how much? 75 lemons at the rate of rupees 8. 75 into 8 is how much? 600. Agreed? So I said my profit is 100. See, 600 is what I am getting, 500 is my expense, and then my profit is 100. Now you come here. Now my wife is saying me, look Anand, don't try and act over smart. I said, yes madam, I won't do that. But you tell me the problem. What is the problem? So she said, for how much did you buy? I said 5. For how much did you sell? I said 8. So 8 minus 5 is how much? 3. So your profit is per unit 3. multiplied by how many units you sold? 75. So 75 multiplied by 3 is how much? 225. And whole place, how much profit are you showing me? 100. Do you think so I am an idiot? I could not say anything, though she was, but I could not. So I am asking, am I correct or my Baiko is correct? My Baiko is correct. So where I am wrong, you tell me. You are absolutely right. The quantity of the expense booked is not matching with the income booked. Income is shown for only 75 unit, but expense is shown for 100 unit. Where is the concept of matching? And because it is not matching, we had to introduce the concept called as closing stock. And that's the reason Sundar teacher taught you closing stock. And closing stock is how many units? 25 lemon into rupees 5. 25 paisa. Mat batao. 125. And rumba. The profit is 225. So कभी सुंदर टीचर ने बताया आपको क्लोजिंग स्टॉक क्यों आता है? Why is closing stock valued? Why is closing stock taken? Closing stock is taken for the concept of matching. Say yes. Shit. Huh? Which is this concept? So I'll tell you what is matching. Income for the period. Expense for the period. Tell in English. Speak in English. Expense for the period is matched with income for the period. So that does not mean that income is 600, make expense also 600. एक कान के नीचे आवाज निकालूंगा मैं बोल रहा इनकम कितने यूनिट के लिए है? 75. एक्सपेंस कितने यूनिट के लिए है? So expense is 100 and income is 75. So what do? We show something as closing stock. That is not an expense. So expense on the written on this side, and then I say this is not my expense. So I reversed it. Say yes or no. And that's the concept of matching. Expense. मेरा थोबड़ा क्या देख रहे बोलो मेरे को. Expense for the period is matched with income for the period. This matching concept is used almost all the tolls. You know that? So in tolls, you construct a road, you construct a bridge. So when you're constructing a road or a bridge, you keep on expending. Bus, expended. Now, once the road is ready, you only yes or no? Yes. So if you see, the financials will look like this. In first few years, only expense. And next few years, only income. So what are you going to talk about this business? You are going to say that, look sir, first we are always in loss, then we are always in profit. No, nonsense. You incurred this expense so that you could earn this income. You have to match the concept. Yes or no? Match the concept means for an income generation, there has to be an expense. So you have to match it. Say yes or no? Yes. So Raja Babuji, all the construction entities have to follow matching concept. It's not a small concept. Similarly, suppose you receive a government grant and subsidy. So even in the government grant, when it is related to protection of wildlife, protection of what? Wildlife. So you have to, अच्छा थोड़ा complicated हो जाएगा. AS12 will deal it in intermediate, provided we pass foundation. So what is matching? इतना सा बता दो फिर. मैचिंग में और भी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, बट आई डोंट वांट टू गेट इनटू ऑल द डिटेल्स. अभी थोड़ा बहुत समझ में आया तो काफी है. व्हाट इज मैचिंग? Absolutely right. Expense for the period is matched with the income for the period. Example, closing stock. Why do you value closing stock? There has to be a reason for it. It is matching. Now let me ask you one more thing. Commerce background students, did you use something called as advertisement suspense account? Oh, is it? You used it? Advertisement suspense account. What did you do with that? मैं जा रहा है अभी, तुम नहीं बोलेंगे, तुम मेरे को से बात करो, मेरे को बहुत गंदा लगता है. डरो मत, मुझे उसका ट्रीटमेंट बताओ सिर्फ. क्या करके आए थे? सुंदर टीचर बोलते लुक बॉयज एंड गर्ल्स, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एडजस्टमेंट, हाईलाइट इट, एंड यू रोट एडवर्टाइजमेंट सस्पेंस अकाउंट. सो व्हाट डिड यू डू विद दैट? और very good. I'm proud of you, son. Where are you from? But she taught you wrong. Sorry. What are you saying is right. This is how it is taught, but that is wrong. So what these people did was, when Jio came up, it incurred huge amount of advertisement. Advertisement. Now you see this for Dreams 11. Now you see for the Coin DCX, वो कौन सा है? Right? When you see IPL, you will find many of the startups which are aggressively advertising the stuff. So now they are incurring the expenditure, huge amount of expenditure. Now what are they going to do with that expenditure? They say that this expenditure of advertisement is going to create a goodwill and name for us, which is going to be useful for us in coming next 5-10 years. So what you exactly did was, you were transferring that expense to each period, because it was giving you benefit for more than one period, and that was the concept of matching. You incurred expense for the current year, but it is not giving you the benefit only for 1 year, it is giving you the benefit for multiple years. Concept of matching. So sometimes a depreciation is also referred because of matching concept, because you are using an asset for multiple years, so you cannot book expense only in 1 year. You are getting the benefit out of it for many years. So hence you match it. Yes or no? अब इसके अंदर कैश रिसीव्ड और कैश पेड का कोई लेना देना नहीं, सो एक्रूअल इज नॉट देयर. मॉड्यूल हैज रॉन्गली रिटर्न फॉर ईयर एक्रूअल. डेप्रिसिएशन को एक्रूअल से समझा है. ठीक है, समझा सकते हैं, ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं समझा सकते, बट एक्रूअल इट इज अबाउट द फ्लो ऑफ कैश, इनफ्लो एंड आउटफ्लो ऑफ कैश. एक्रूअल, इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड इट क्लियरली. बट आई हैव पेड फॉर द एसी ऑलरेडी, सो देयर इज नो liability, there is no asset. Say yes. I am just saying that this AC is going to be used for more than one period, so then I am getting the benefit for more than one period, so matching has to be there in the expense and the income, na? Yes. Say yes. Yes. So there are many concepts which had their derivation from the concept of matching, depreciation, closing stock, construction contract, etc. etc. हाँ, पायल शर्मा, हम पैसे एक ही बार देते हैं बट उसका यूज बहुत ज्यादा टाइम तक होता है. बिल्कुल सही जवाब. इज दैट ओके? सो हैव यू अंडरस्टूड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ मैचिंग? सो टुडे आई हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड विच ऑल कॉन्सेप्ट? एक्रूअल एंड मैचिंग. हैव यू क्लियरली अंडरस्टूड मैचिंग एंड एक्रूअल? नाउ लेट्स गो ऑन. विल यू राइट मैचिंग? राइट डाउन मैचिंग के लिए. इनकम नहीं, आई डिक्टेट. एक्सपेंस फॉर द पीरियड, सॉरी, matching concept. Expense for the period, expense for the period, expense for the period should be matched, should be matched, should be matched with income for the period, should be matched with income for the period. एक्सपेंस फॉर द पीरियड शुड बी मैच्ड विथ इनकम फॉर द पीरियड. ठीक है, चलिए अब आगे बढ़ते हैं. और क्या लिखेंगे आगे? और क्या लिखेंगे आगे? एग्जाम्पल क्लोजिंग स्टॉक. एग्जाम्पल क्लोजिंग स्टॉक. सो इफ somebody asks you, you should be able to explain this very clearly. Closing stock. What is the next example you can write down? Construction companies. Construction companies. What is the next example? What is the next example? Advertisement. Advertisement companies. Is that okay? Etc. etc. Full stop. Can we now go ahead? So with this we have done with what? Matching concept. Now let me explain you the next concept, and it is called as within with periodicity, business entity, dual aspect, historical cost is there, matching is what we have done. Now let me explain you something called as materiality. Now what is materiality? See, there is something called as cost benefit analysis. Cost benefit analysis. Cost benefit analysis. So suppose if the doctor says you have to expend 20 crore. You have to expend how much? 20 crore. and if you extend 20 crore, I'll give you the wings of butterfly. You say, oh, thank you. Arey, what do you think so? I'm very champ aadmi yaar. I can do that. Are you ready to pay 20 crore? No. Stop, nonsense. I can do that, right? I say, aste nalaik log. I'm saying, so I've got this 20 crore rupees. So you need to pay me 20 crores and I will provide you with the wings of butterfly. You'll be able to fly for naturally, yeah? Nothing artificial, everything naturally. You'll be able to fly for around 6 hours. 6 घंटा you can fly. Papa ki pariyo? Would you like to fly? Arey bolo na, would you like to fly? I'm saying you'll be able to get a wings and you'll be able to fly. You have to pay me 20 crores. Will you pay? No. Why? You're getting a benefit, right? Here is clear cut idea. It is not worth it. See, I'm using this pen for last 3 years. Baiko doesn't give me another pen. She says, no, you have to use this only. Why are you expending so much? So I'm using this pen for how many years? 3 years. I'm using my shoes. नहीं दिखा सकता. For last 4 years. रोना जाता. Okay. So I'm using my pen. I'm using my shoes. You know eraser? Anyone has got an old eraser? पुराना इरेजर सबसे ज्यादा पुराना किसके पास है? वाह, देखो गरीब गरीब आदमी देख रहे हो. हाँ, ये इरेजर कितने साल पुराना है? नहीं ज्यादा है रे. किसी का इससे पुराना है कोई? 11वीं 12वीं है ना? 11वीं 12वीं. हाँ, तुम्हारा भी पुराना, फेंको दो. सो नाउ दिस, भाई साहब ये क्या महल साफ कर दिया इससे? कभी काला कितना हो गया यार. ठीक है. सो ये मतलब कम से कम गोरा तो है, तो इसको ब्लेड से छीलता है. गुड. सो दिस इरेजर, कैन यू सी? long time, ages, ancient times they are using it. So I am saying it is providing me the benefit for more than one accounting year. Now some of the scientists sitting here will tell me, sir, you need to book the expense of this eraser in 4 years. So what I am going to do, in my books, I am going to write down eraser, 5 rupees. I bought it for 5 rupees, I am going to use it for 5 years. So I'll say less. I'll transfer expense for 1 year. It will be 4. Then expense for next year 1. Then it is how much? 3. Then expense for next year 1, 2. Are you getting my point? What am I doing? I am transferring my expense every year. Just imagine in Reliance how many erasers are there. Just imagine in Reliance how many pencils and pens are there. And you are telling to Mukesh Ambani, look, I am an accountant. And I'll teach you something called as matching concept. Look at this eraser. It is going to give you benefit for 5 years. And you should use it properly, okay? Mukesh Ambani says, yeah. And you have to book it as an expense for 5 years. Mukesh Ambani says, yes. Now what he said, I cannot say it in the public domain. तुमको कितनी गाली मार के भगाया तुमको मालूम है ना? कितना मारा था, पहले तो पुलिस में भेजा था तुमको, मारा कर बोले इसका दिमागी इलाज कराओ, कुछ भी बड़बड़ कर रहा है ये. You went na to mental this Yervada. You said this na to Mukesh Ambani. So you tell me, what is Mukesh Ambani gonna do with you? If you're gonna say, sir, this is an eraser, we have to show it as an expense for how many years? 5 years. Yes or no? So you tell me, what are you going to do? So will he agree or he won't agree? Because the cost of implementing this is not worth it. See, whatever you're saying makes sense. ये सही है, जो तुम बोल रहे हो सही है, but it is not going to make any sense because there is no benefit matching with the cost incurred to implement it. So the cost to implement is I have to recruit a chartered accountant, I have to recruit an accountant who is going to do all this stuff. Eraser is of 5 rupees, chartered accountant is charging 5 lakh rupees for that. Are you getting my point? So boys and girls, please understand one thing, कि जब तुम भिखारी को पैसे देते हो, दिए हो कभी कि लिए ही हो? सारा साल है, हम खुद ऐसे हैं. सो मुकेश अंबानी कहेगा यू आर अगरबत्ती, वेरी गुड. सो मुझे बताओ, भिखारी को पैसे दिए हो कभी? हां, व्हॉट इज द एंट्री यू पास? कोण आहे? सो व्हॉट इज द एंट्री यू पास? भिखारी अकाउंट डेबिट टू कैश मीन्स यू आर सेइंग भिखारी तेरे को पैसा दिया वापिस तेरे से चाहिए. अरे होपलेस. यू राइट डाउन द एंट्री मिसलेनियस एक्सपेंस टू कैश. तुम में से हिसाब कितने लोग लिखते हैं? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू राइट डाउन अकाउंट्स? मतलब पापा को देते कि नहीं देते हिसाब? कितने करोड़पति लोग हैं अपने क्लास में? हिसाब नहीं लिखते? लिखते हो? हाँ तुम लिखते हो. हाँ यू ऑल्सो राइट. ओके. सो मुझे एक बात बताओ, कुछ ऐसी चीजें करते हो जो लिखते नहीं हो? Even you do it? Huh? कभी नहीं? Huh? So I'll tell you what happened with me. तुम क्या है? अरे यार तुम मेरे जैसे बच्चे होते ना तो मजा आ जाती. So at one point of time in my life I played jua. You know what is jua? Or I played this gambling. So I never wanted to play it. I was pulled into it. So what used to happen in those early days when I was studying, so we used to have money, 1,000-2,000 rupees for a month. 2,000 is what I used to get. So one fine day I was traveling to Solapur and we had these buses, which were pushback buses, not the sleeping one which you go into. So we had these pushback buses. When you were born, I am talking about that year, 2004. You were born in 2004, right? Yeah. So I am talking about those time. So I was going back to Solapur. And when I was going back to the Solapur, so the bus stops near some hotel or dhaba. So we got down there. When we got down there, so you know there are people who are drinking tea, coffee, and you know then with the mufflers and all in the cold days, there was a gholka. There was a so kuch to tha. हाँ. And then there was this frail lukda banda, and there were people who were playing some game. And I was just saying it what it was, because any which ways bus was going to wait, and I can't sleep in the bus. I never wanted to drink a tea because then I would not have been able to sleep. I was not empty stomach, I had full stomach and I was free air. So what do? I don't want to sit in the bus when it is not traveling. So then there is no air in the bus. So I thought I'll go down. So I was saying, oh. So then they were doing something. As a roll karenge paper, and then you have to figure out of this 5, which one is having the sign on that. So there are papers which has got a sign. So he'll roll everything in front of us and then he will do something and then he'll throw it and then you have to pick it up. So if you pick it up the right thing, you get out of 50, you get 150. I said, good proposition, good work. Right. So they started doing it. So I did it once. I did not win. Second time also I did it. I did not win. Hopeless, समझ में आना चाहिए ना? अक्कल नहीं थी मेरे में. So I did it one more time. बोले अभी जितना कमाया ना, जितना लॉस हुआ ना, whatever loss I have incurred, I will earn everything. So earlier I paid for 50, then I paid for 50, then I said no, I'll play now for 200 so that I earn everything back. And I get into the profit. And I lost. So now my dad is there. And I am of your age. And I have to tell Papa, खर्चा हो गया है. So what do I write down? Jua? Huh? Gambling? क्या लिखूँ बताओ? Miscellaneous. That's what I wrote. चिल्लर चल्लर खर्चा. What did I write down? चिल्लर चल्लर खर्चा. Small expenses. What do you pay expenses? I wrote yes or no. That was to cover it. So I knew materiality concept. So this is materiality concept. Materiality concept says that when there are irrelevant items, small items, you can treat it as an expense. Otherwise, there is nothing called as miscellaneous expense. But this concept had to be introduced here, because if it would not have introduced, we would have accounting eraser as an asset. We would have accounted this pen as an eraser. An asset. Yes or no? So my dear friends, materiality says that depending upon the organization, immaterial item, what I am saying, small petty item can be directly treated as an expense rather than treating it as what? Asset. So let me explain you this with the help of an example. Materiality is relative. Relative in nature, as in I'll tell you. You go and eat a sabudana vada there. You have, Sago sabudana vada. खाल्लाय का कधी आयुष्यात? थोडं काय बघताय माझं? You eat a vada pav somewhere. So where do you sit there? Chair, stool. So when you sit on the chair and stool, ask that stool, what are you? Stool will say, I am an asset. Shall I repeat it again? Okay, so when you eat vada pav, when you eat a burger, when you eat a, काय म्हणतो त्याला दुसरं? whatever XYZ stuff. So when you sit there on the stool this time, when you go and sit there, just do like this and ask it, what are you? You say, I am an asset. Because he has invested capital to buy this. Yes or no? It is an asset. Oh. So yeah, it is an asset. So now what do is you go back to Reliance Industries and you say that, let's buy a chair. So the chair is bought. Same chair, 500 rupees here, same there, 500. Neel Kamal chair. Now Reliance Industries is going to say that it is an expense. Because for Reliance Industries, it is an immaterial item. But for this guy, it is a material item. Now you tell me, तुमको कितने पैसे का लॉस हुआ तो तुमको फर्क नहीं पड़ता. You tell me the loss which will not matter to you much. अच्छा, I'll ask you. If suppose you lose 100 rupees, will it matter to you? Will you, if you lose 10 rupees, will it matter to you? No, not it. It will matter or not? It will matter to you still. इतनी गरीब है मेरे से ले जाया कर 10,000 से. अरे भाई मैं कॉन्सेप्ट समझा रहा हूँ, क्यों कॉन्सेप्ट की माँ बहन कर रहे हो यार, वापस पूछ रहा हूँ यार. अब जबरदस्ती इमोशनल सेंटे मारने का नहीं, एक एक रुपया एक एक पैसा मैटर करता है वो प्लेस. मैं पूछ रहा हूँ, इफ यू लूज 1,000 rupees, डज दैट मैटर? या इट इज अ मटेरियल आइटम. इफ यू लूज 100 rupees, डज दैट मैटर? मे बी यस. इफ यू लूज 5-10 rupees, डज दैट मैटर? मे बी नो. समझ में आ रहा है? बिकॉज दैट आइटम इज नॉट मटेरियल फॉर यू. बट सपोज इफ I lose 10 rupees, it will matter me because I am a poor fellow. You getting my? You are rich people, so even if you lose 1,000 rupees, no, it doesn't matter, right? But if I lose 5-10 rupees, will it matter? Oh, I'll have pain. So it is a material item for me. For you, it is an immaterial item. Do you understand? So materiality depends upon business to business, size of the business. Say yes. Yes. So materiality says that all the small petty expenses, petty items can be, clubbed together. So can we read for materiality? Please come here. Brum, brum. Brum, brum, brum. Which page number? Uh, 1.16. Are you there? Can you read materiality? According to materiality principle, all the items having significant economic effect on the business of the enterprise should be disclosed in the financial statement. Yes or no? Now, materiality principle permits other concepts to be ignored if effect is not considered to be material. Material means the relative importance. So, I said you that you have to follow the concept of matching. But now I am saying that you can ignore. Materiality principle permits other concepts to be ignored. So, eraser is used for how many time? Eraser is used for how many years? Maybe 2 years. But I'll ignore the matching concept. Why? Because if the effect is not considered relatively important, if you put eraser in 2 years or you put eraser in 1 year, it is not really very important in financial decision making. Yes or no? So, all the relatively less important item can be booked as an expense in 1 year. Another example of is miscellaneous expenses. Chillar challar kharcha. Other expenses. What are other expenses? Come on here. These are something as common, small, petty expenses. Yes or no? So if you donate something to Bhikari, you don't write down Bhikari to cash. You write down miscellaneous expense to cash. Yes or no? Similarly, if you give a tip to a waiter, you don't write down tip to a waiter to cash. You write down the entry what? Miscellaneous expense to cash. Similarly, if you go and do some XYZ stuff somewhere, you don't keep on writing down the name of the expenditure again and again. What do? You directly write down miscellaneous expense to cash. So suppose you repaired a null. Null samajhte ho? Tap. So you don't write down repair to tap. You just simply write down repairs to cash. Yes or no? So this was an invention of materiality. So all the small expenses, rather than accounting for separately, you can club them together and treat it as one. Yes? Go ahead. This principle is an exception to full disclosure principle. I'll explain you a little later on. Now, the materiality depends not only upon the amount of an item, but also upon the size of the business. I already said you. So, what is material for me, important for me, may not be material for you. Say yes. So, what is material for me may be immaterial for Reliance. Are you getting my point? Yes. Let's go on. Nature and level of information. level of person making the decision, etc. Now this is very critical, huh? Because my dear friends, you are going to learn this in audit. As a chartered accountant, you are required to audit the financial statement. So let me explain you something really very important to us. Suno. तुम्हारे घर में चोरी हो गई. You had a thief at your home. ₹1. Will you report it? Why? Item is not material. Suppose you had a thief at your home and he has stolen 10 rupees. Will you report it? Very good. Now dhyan se sunna. You are reporting to dad. I mean, this is a transaction between you, mom, dad. Dad is the reporting agency. We are understanding the concept of materiality. I said there was a thief at your home. He has stolen 1 rupee. Is the item material? No. Will it be reported? No. Suppose there was a thief and he has stolen 10 rupees. Will it be reported? The answer is no. Now look at the story. Yeah? Suppose you have stolen it. No, your mom is going to report it now, not you. तुमने चोरी की, पकड़े गए. You have stolen the money and you got caught. Now you tell me whether your mom is going to report or not. Because this information is important from that organization. So suppose if I tell you there is an organization where there was a small petty theft of ₹1,000. 1,000 is an immaterial amount. 1,000 is an immaterial amount. Will you report it? The answer is you can report it as a miscellaneous expense. Why to create a hue and cry that 1,000 rupees was stolen? No, there was nothing to do that hue and cry. Fine, you will report it as a miscellaneous expense. But now if I tell you that the 1,000 rupees was stolen by director of the company, and you are going to invest in that company. So what are you going to think? अरे जिसका डायरेक्टर इतना चिंदी है उस कंपनी में अपन पैसा लगाएंगे साला नोच लेगा बे. 1,000 रुपए के लिए साला ने ईमान बेच दिया. Now you tell me, will you report this 1,000 rupees because it is stolen by the director? Yes, because it becomes a relevant information for decision making. Yes or no? Yes. So boys and girls, if you read the next line, it is not only the size of the business, it is also what? Nature of information. So if there is a theft by what? Director, or there is a penalty levied by Government of India on you for violation of law, the penalty might be low, but it talks a lot about whether you are complying with the stuff or not. And if you are not complying with the stuff, tomorrow they might close your doors, tomorrow they might lock your factory. अबे मैं काय बोलतो कळतंय काय? All I am just trying to say, materiality is not always the size of the business, it is also related what is the nature of information. So suppose agar there is a fine imposed by Government of India for polluting, you are making the pollution and all. Boys and girls, this is a serious offense. Once they will ignore, second they will ignore, third they might come and lock your factory. Now this information, even if it is a small amount, should be disclosed, should be given. Yes or no? Same like your mom does. Normal petty theft here and there, mom might say ignore it. But if mom catches you, then it is reported to dad, and you always know what dad does. Ghapa ghap. Okay, because that information is a material item. Now boys understands it well, है ना? कितने बच्चे मार खाए हुए हैं? चोरी नहीं बे, ऐसे मार कौन कितने बच्चे खाए हुए? सब कहाँ खाए? इधर कई सारे लोगों के हाथ ऊपर नहीं हो रहे. मेरे को देखना मार कौन कौन खाए हुए हैं. अरे वाह वाह वाह, मतलब ठीक है. तू मार नहीं खाए कभी? और कौन मार नहीं खाया? You have lost a serious fun in your life, huh? I swear. मैं मार कब खाता था? I'll tell you, just tell you. So हमारे घर वाले ना, see if I'm talking this in Hindi यार थोड़ा सा ignore करो. This is something which I'm talking about my बचपन, and I generally don't teach, only teach. I'll talk about many other aspects also. नहीं तो boring हो जाए. You know what I used to do? So this summer vacations I used to have a huge thrashing. बहुत मारते थे. काई को स्कूल नहीं रहती थी. और फिर वी यूज टू हैव दिट रेक्सोना चप्पल. देयर वाज अ चप्पल. वी यूज टू वियर दिस एंड वी यूज टू गो. एंड नाउ इफ आई वांट टू have those raw mangoes, कैरी तोड़ने का है, so I used to remove one चप्पल, throw it, फेंकने का, मारने का और गिरता, खाने का मजा आता था. भाई साहब fun ना. So I used to think that I am doing a favor on my dad by eating something like this because he doesn't have to get it from the market. I am helping my dad. I am his responsibility and I am taking care of him. I am a bhari person. But sometimes जो मेरी स्लीपर रहती थी, चप्पल रहती थी, वो ऊपर अटक जाती थी. And then I used to throw a lot of stones, this, that, but it never used to come down. फिर गाली गलौज कोई करते थे इधर उधर, फिर हम वहाँ से भागते थे. भागते भागते घर में आने का. Then I was a very shrewd and very logical guy. What I used to do is I used to put one chappal and next day I used to do acting. And what was that acting? मेरी चप्पल किधर गई? So I learned acting there, okay? मेरी चप्पल किधर गई? So yeah, mom will also come and then she will also search along with you. Mom, dad will also come and she will also start searching along with you. And you don't get a chappal. And you know what they do? थोड़ी देर सर्च करेंगे इज्जत में, फिर कान के नीचे बजाएंगे, बोल कहाँ ढाल के छोड़ के आया. कैसे माँ बाप है मेरे. वो फिर मुझे तब यकीन होते चला था कि मुझे सही में कहीं से उठा के लाया है. नहीं, वो मुझे मारते थे, बोले चप्पल कहाँ है. फिर मुझे मारा वो ठीक है, मैं नहीं बोला, अपन सख्त है एकदम. फिर उधर वो दूसरा वाला रहता, उसको पता चल रहा है कि अब मेरे को भी बजाएंगे. चप्पल मेरी गुम है बट उसको बजाएंगे. तो फिर दूसरे को धमकाया जाता है. इलाज के यू टेल मी व्हाट हैपेंड. एंड देन कर देगा, सब कुछ बोल देगा. हाँ इसने मारा था, ऐसे ऐसे हम खा के आए थे. साला कमीना खाया वो भी था बट हगा इधर आकर. एनीवेज, एंड देन व्हाट हैपेंड, ही टोल्ड एवरीथिंग. You know, who was that wrong? The person who ate, my brother, and who was a part of the game. It was just that my chappal went off. साला इधर पचका, इसने बोला मार, फिर मैं और खाया. And you know what was the punishment? For the whole summer vacation, I did not have a chappal. मैं एड़े जैसे ऐसे घूम रहा हूं. और कभी बहुत ज्यादा पैर जल रहे ना, तो स्कूल के शूज रहते थे ब्लैक कलर के, वो पहन के घूम रहा हूं मैं. बड़ा जलील करते थे यार बच्चों ने. बट एनीवेज, हैव यू अंडरस्टूड दिस? बस पापा की याद आ गई मटेरियलिटी से, इसीलिए याद आ गई. मतलब ही जिंदा है, टेंशन हो गया. बचपन में याद आ गए. लेट्स गो ऑन फर्दर. So shall we talk about the next part of the story? An item is material to one person, may be immaterial to another person. Yeah. And the next, what is important is that omission of any information should not impair the decision making of various users. So the key word is what? Materiality is directly connected with what? Decision making. So if you are reporting an information and the decision is changing, hiding that information is that what you are doing is, you are committing a fraud. So अगर आपको पता चले कि director has committed a fraud, if you understand that director has committed a fraud, and if anyone knows this, he might change his decision. Yes or no? And if you are hiding it, then it means that you are hiding an important material information. Yes or no? So this is what is the rule. Materiality is that information that it should not. So what is the important is that omission of any information should not impair decision making of various users. That means to say that if an information is omitted, is not given, and if it is impairing, that means to say if it is distorting, if it is changing the decision, that means you have committed a fraud. You have not disclosed all the material information. Yes or no? Yes. Is that okay? So have you understood materiality? Materiality is showing the important items or showing the relatively important items, and it can change from person to person. Right? It can change on the basis of the size of the organization. It can change on the basis of the nature of the information. So materiality says that you can club remaining small petty expenses, petty information, and disclose it separately. But all the material important information should be disclosed separately. Yes or no? So if there is a fraud committed by a director, it has to be reported separately, even if it is a small fraud. Say yes. So now can I go ahead? All right. So we did with materiality. Then there is a concept called as disclosure. Full disclosure. Now what is the full disclosure? Full disclosure is a concept which says that all the relevant info. See, why are we studying this? Because now, who is the owner of Reliance Industries? Shareholders. Who is the owner of TCS? Shareholders. But they are not capable of going and doing the work there because they are the owner. But my dear friend, the management is with somebody else. Who is owner of India? Who is owner of India? Public, yes, you. So go and sit in the parliament. Acha, parliament. Go and sit in the Pune Mahanagarpalika. Owner na. Try and go. इज्जत नहीं है तुम्हारी 5 पैसे की. वहां से है ना कौन भगा के निकालेगा मालूम है क्या? चौकीदार निकालेगा वहां से. चले. So you are owner only for the sake of name, right? Yes or no? You are just for the sake of name. Management is somebody else. The elected candidate. Similarly, in a company, you are the owner in a form of a shareholder, but then, my dear friends, it is managed by somebody else. So when it is managed by somebody else, whether to invest in that company or not, how are we going to decide? We are going to decide on the basis of financial statements. So this financial statement reflects what are the profit, what are the losses, what are the asset, what are the liability, what is the capital, yes or no? Now when they are giving me this financial statement, boys and girls, they should give all the details. They should give what? All the details. And that is called as disclosure principle. So for example, who is having a hotel here? Good. Can you stand? What's your good name, brother? And where is your hotel? Bead. So, what happened? Do you mind if I do some complication? Good. Because if you would have said yes, still I would have done. So, अजिंक्य के होटल में मैं गया, राइट? अजिंक्य के होटल में गया, मैं खाना खाया और मेरे को उल्टी होने लगी. गलत मत समझो. ओके. सो मुझे हंसी की भाई पता है, तुमको जोक लेट समझते हैं. सो अजिंक्य के मैं शॉप में गया, ऑफिस में गया, एंड आई एट फूड एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड वॉमिटिंग. सो यू टेल मी व्हाट शुड आई डू? बोलो ना. डॉक्टर के पास गया मैं, उसके बाद में क्या करूं बताओ? मैनेजर यही है. क्या कंप्लेन करता है इसको? हाँ, क्या करूं? हाँ, दिखा दे हार्ट भी. कभी कॉन्सेप्ट समझा रहा हूं यार, वो भी मेरा दोस्त है यार. क्या तू भी जाने दो, क्या बत्ती दे रहा है यार. So tell me, what are we gonna do? So suppose if I ate the food, suppose my liver went off the problem. So you tell me, what should I do? Complain where? Police, consumer court. Now this is the right food inspector, right? Now you tell me, what is the food inspector going to do him? He might charge a fine on him. Now understand, please understand. I lodged a complaint on him, right, in the court of law, and this is just a complaint right now. He is not supposed to pay me anything. I am not supposed to pay him anything. So there is no financial transaction here, no money measurement. What money measurement? Ille, nothing. But I am asking you, I ate food in 2022. Okay, Ajinkya? मैं तुम्हारे 22 में आया था खाना खाने को. I ate food in 2022, and suppose if I lodged a case against him, right? And you want to invest in Ajinkya's hotel. Hey, it is doing so fantastic, wonderful. And I have lodged a complaint of 4 CR on him, 4 crore. There is no financial transaction as of yet. That is a court case going on. I am asking you, you tell me, if I win the case, will he have to pay me 4 crore? You have already invested in that hotel chain. How are you feeling now? Why are you feeling bad? I am getting the money. because you have invested in that entity and the performance of the entity is going to go down. Say yes or no? So my dear Rasgullas and Rasgullis, please understand this concept. There is no transaction right now, but still he will report it in his financial statement because of the concept of full disclosure. It is called as contingent liability, which is not a liability right now, but it can be a liability in future. Contingent liability. Yes or no? Yes. Have you understood what is full disclosure? Yes. अजिंक्य सॉरी, हाँ तू करते रहे. सॉरी अजिंक्य, सेट इससे दूर रहना. मैं क्या बोल रहा था तुमको? फुल डिस्क्लोजर प्रिंसिपल. फुल डिस्क्लोजर मीन्स वॉट एवर इज द रिलेवेंट इन्फॉर्मेशन यू डिस्क्लोज इट. सो ट्रांजेक्शन नहीं, इट्स ओके, बट स्टिल यू हैव टू डिस्क्लोज इट एज वॉट? कॉन्टिंजेंट लाइबिलिटी. Do you all agree? So if there is an outstanding or there is a case against you in which you will have to make the payment, so then you have to disclose it as a contingent liability. I hope you people have understood so far. Can I take you to the next step? Have you understood, Manchar? काय समजलं सांग तुला? ये पाल के जैसे जीभ नहीं निकालेगा. नहीं, पाल नहीं रहता. कौन निकालता है? हाँ, लिजार्ड निकालती है एक. मैंने डिस्कवरी में देखा था. हाँ, मंचरिया बोलना. फुल डिस्क्लोजर प्रिंसिपल. एक्टिंग मस्त करता है. मैं नहीं जा रहा है क्या? सुन ना बाळ, नाव काय तुझं? वैष्णवी. हिंदीत बोल, मराठीत बोल, इंग्लिश बोल, तुझ्या भाषेत बोल, पण बोलायला शिक. मेरा बच्चा है तू, ऐसा बैठ नहीं सकता. जो मन में आएगा बोलने का. लहान होती तेव्हा बोलायची ना, येत नसायचं तरी बोलायची. हे मला इकडे घेऊन जा, बोटं दाखवून दाखवून करायची ना. बरोबर आहे की नाही? बोलायला शिक. मैं नहीं जा रहा क्या? फुल डिस्क्लोजर प्रिंसिपल क्या है बताओ? ये संतोष, वो अपनी करंट देने वाली मशीन कहाँ है रे? नीचे लेके आ तो. सही में करंट देते हैं इधर. हे ताई लवकर बोल, घरी जायचं आहे मला. अच्छा मेरे को एक बात बताओ, मेरी गलती क्या वैष्णवी की है? तुम एक बात समझो ना, वी बोथ आर ऑन द सेम साइड. मैं तुम्हारी इंसल्ट नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं तुमको बता रहा हूँ, सिखा रहा हूँ कि आपको बोलना पड़ेगा. तुमको सब कुछ तो फ्रीडम दे दी यार, तुमको जो भाषा में आता है बोलो. तुम्हारे अंदर जो सबसे बड़ा प्लस पॉइंट, वन ऑफ द ग्रेटेस्ट प्लस पॉइंट यू हैड एज अ चाइल्ड वाज व्हाट? यू ऑलवेज वर विलिंग टू डू एनीथिंग विच वॉज गिवन एज अ चैलेंज टू यू. when you had zero capability to do that, you had zero capability to do that. A cockroach, even if it is grown up cockroach, he still cannot turn around. Are you aware about it? He doesn't have a brain and he cannot visualize and he cannot do the things. In your case, it was sheer willpower. When you saw people turning around, you started turning around, you started sitting when you are not capable of doing that. You started walking. And if you are believing this, then I think you cannot be a greater fool by not doing this. If you believe that we were born out of apes, then one difference which was there between us and them was we were willing, we had that willpower to change ourselves. And for that you have to start. Start need not be great, start can be small, but not trying is a crime in student's life. It is a crime. क्या बोल रहा हूँ यार मैं, तू तेरे को तेरी भाषा में बोल. चलो ठीक है, आज वापिस से एक नई चीज़ सिखा देता हूँ. मैंने प्रेम से मेरी तरफ से कोशिश की. कल फिर से दोबारा मिलूंगा. मैं अभी लेक्चर छोड़ूंगा क्योंकि क्या है, मैं प्रेम से बोलकर नहीं समझ में आएगी बात. फिर है ना दैट आई हैव टू आर्म ट्विस्ट. फिर मुझे थोड़ा सा तुमको तो है ना धमकाना पड़ता है, फिर थोड़ा सा हाथ घुमाना पड़ता है, फिर इज्जत से काम करती पब्लिक, फिर चाबी भरनी पड़ती. फिर कल तू थोबाड़ा ऐसा मत कर, उसको बोल, मेरे पास मत देख, तू उसको बोल. मैंने उसको क्या बोला, तू जो भाषा में बोलेगी, जैसा बोलेगी, सब मंजूर है. नहीं बोलने का तो मैं क्या करेगा? मैं इधर क्या गोटे खेलने आए के लिए नहीं. इफ यू आर पार्ट ऑफ द गेम बी ए पार्ट ऑफ द गेम, दैट्स इट. मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, और तू तेरे पर मत ले, इधर और भी पूछूंगा ना तो वो भी नहीं बोलेंगे. बट क्या धमकाना ज़रूरी है. बच्चों को क्या धमकाए तो फिर बराबर काम करते औकात में. सो व्हाट इज दैट? टुमारो ऑनवर्ड्स इफ आई आस्क एनीवन एनीथिंग, the rule is he has to give a try. I am not saying you have to give me the right answer. You have to try, that's it. I want this effort. तुम समझ रहे हो क्या बोल रहा हूं मैं? Are you understanding what I am saying? You have to just give a try. It's not about that कि नहीं सही चाहिए. I don't want the answer which is right. I know the answer. I want you to just give a try because I know it. The journey of success goes through multiple trials. So if you want to be successful, you have to increase your trials. So sometimes trial would be good, sometimes not good, sometimes it works, sometimes it won't work. In fact, I'll tell you, in real world, 95% of the website which are launched flunk, fail. You can read the fact in IT. 95% of the software which are created are useless. You can go and check. So that means only 5% of the software are successful. Still people keep on trying the thing and doing different stuff. The key is try. And in trial, you fail. In trial, you don't do well, but it's okay. But you still need to do again and again. Sir, please give example of full disclosure again. I'll give an example. So contingent liability is what I said. And you don't even have to give me the example, you have to just tell me what is the full disclosure. The name suggests what is full disclosure. In the financial statement, you have to disclose all the details. This is what the full disclosure is. And in the full disclosure, I said you, suppose if there is a legal case against you, there is no result of the legal case which has come out as of yet. Result abhi tak nahi hai. But still, you might have to disclose it saying that, look, there is a case against us and we might have to pay cash. Say yes. So boys and girls and boys, this was the case of what? Full disclosure. Is that okay? So आज का रूल समझ में आ गया? I'm stopping it here. What is the rule? Try. किसको प्रॉब्लम है अभी बोल दो मेरे को. See, I'll tell you very clearly, honestly. If you are a student of mine, I want to create a difference in your life. तुम मेरे क्लास में आने के बाद में after 3 months you cannot be same. You have to be a different personality. You have to improve. और तुम्हें पता है, तुम्हारा दिल जानता है मैं गलत नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. और तुम्हें फोर्स नहीं करूँगा तो तुम कभी बोलोगे नहीं. आज नहीं बोलोगे, कल नहीं बोलोगे, परसों नहीं बोलोगे. ठीक है? सो वैष्णवी जी कल मिलेंगे. और तो आज किसी ने भी वैष्णवी को कुछ बोला ना, भाला डाल के मार देगा मैं, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि तुम भी ऐसे ही हो. तुम में से भी कुछ लोग हैं ऐसे, डरते हैं लोग यार, बोलने से डरते हैं. इट्स ओके. मैं खुद डरता था. मेरी माँ थी मुझे प्रमोट करने के लिए. फॉर यू पीपल आई एम देयर, सो यू हैव टू स्पीक. देयर डू नॉट हैव एन ऑप्शन. इज दैट ओके? बाय बाय बोलो. कल मिलने का वादा करो. अभी पढ़कर जाने का है. कल सैटरडे है ना? हर्षद एंड राज इज नॉट टेकिंग ना? आई एम नॉट श्योर अबाउट माई ना. No, so I am not taking tomorrow's lecture because I am traveling today. आज शाम को मैं कहीं जा रहा हूँ बाहर, so maybe I will not take the lecture. Is that okay? Have you understood? Am I taking the lecture? No. इल्ले रोम्बा. I am not taking the lecture. चलो bye bye.